Hey Void, how you doing? So, last night I was on my Shudder trek and finally got to a movie I had been looking forward to seeing for a while. Now, this one's been one that had been much lauded on a lot of the horror subreddits I tend to follow, and it has Nick Cage, which is always a plus for me. And that was 2018's Mandy. Now, I didn't really know much about what Mandy was about going into it. I went in pretty much blind, other than knowing that Nick Cage was in it, and every poster seemed to be weirdly reddish purpley tinged. And I gotta say, of the Nick Cage horror movies that are exclusive to Shudder that have a weird purple tinge to them, Color Out of Space has got to be my favorite. This one, I was all ready to go into this one and give it a high praise. I wanted to like this movie. But I fell asleep during this movie. During the last 20 minutes. Now, yes, granted, I was watching this very late at night, so it's not entirely the movie's fault. But I did wake up the next morning, wind it back, watch, and it still didn't grab me. So, this one stars Nick Cage as Red. He is with his lover, Mandy, chilling out in the woods, vibing, when a Charles Manson-esque cult descends upon them. Their leader, Jeremiah Sand, has determined that he wants Mandy to be his, so they pull up and give her drugs and try to seduce her to their side, and when that fails, they burn her alive in front of Red. And thereafter Red begins a violent vengeance. So it's kind of a Hills Have Eyes-esque sort of thing. Not quite rape revenge, because there's not technically a rape, and she's not the one revenging herself, as she is quite dead. But I don't know. This one gets weirdly psychedelic, and I'm on board with that. But it didn't do it enough to really merit it for me. I mean, things would occasionally be weirdly color tinged without any real reason, and when the drugs were involved, yeah, some weird things are shown. But I would like some more of it, like the weird animated inserts of Mandy, like that he's seeing. I could have used a little more of those. I mean, the gore effects are good, and the cult is creepy, but I don't know. This one, nothing really set it apart. There's a few things that almost did, but nothing really did. Nick Cage doesn't do enough to really stand out in this, which is weird to say for Nick Cage. I mean, he does what he does fine, but I don't know. Just something wasn't enough to really elevate this. I think part of the problem is the pacing of the movie. Now, this thing's about 2 hours long. But they only feel like they have like an hour and a half of material. Things just drag. And you'd think, with that much time, you'd get to know and a feel for him and Mandy's relationship, but you really don't. I know next to nothing about Mandy for this movie to be called Mandy. She's a pretty enough girl with a scar on her eye, and she's likes schlocky fantasy novels, apparently, and she does paintings. That's all I know about her. I don't know anything about her personality. They don't have... It's mostly just her and him just laying around together with a few very short, stilted conversations. They're usually just like a question, an answer, and another answer, and then done. I don't care enough about Mandy for when she gets burned alive that I want to see Red's revenge. Because I don't have a connection to Red or Mandy. The film's like holding both of them at a distance and doesn't let you connect with them. So I wanted to like this one. But as it stands, it's only okay. I mean, there are some elements I did like. The gore effects are top notch. The brutality is cool. I like what I'm seeing. There's a freaking chainsaw fight. How am I giving a mediocre review to a movie with a chainsaw fight? Part of me is debating where to put this in. Plot-wise, this movie's just a 5. And some of the execution isn't all that great, so it... But I will say what does work, the cult, its creepiness, and the gore effects do elevate it to a 6 MacGuffin movie. I can give this 6 MacGuffins. It's worth seeing once, maybe second time, but that's really the best I can do on this one. I mean, it's fine. Maybe I just built it up too much in my head from hearing all the good reviews and just going in as way I did, but it just... I don't know. I wanted to like it more than I did. Ah, well. Catch you later, Void.